Hello, I am Steve Morel. I am one of 5 celebrities taking part in this year's Grey County Reads. I am a performer as well as a arts administrator, where we're working right now at the Durham Art Gallery. And it's a beautiful place if you've never been here in downtown Durham, right across the Heritage Walkway Bridge. And I also perform in a little funk band locally called Higher Function. And if you've ever been at Heartwood dancing with us, then we've sweat together. The book I'm defending is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Waubgeshig Rice. The reason you should vote for Moon of the Crusted Snow is because it's a very timely fable. It's a lovely, not long book. It's not going to take up your whole winter, but it will stay with you the whole winter. And it's set in the winter. It's a very timely, let's say, apocalyptic fable set in a remote, isolated northern First Nations community. Another reason why in Grey you should read, since we are on beautiful First Nations territory and have 2 First Nations brothers and sisters right beside us, both of the Chippewas and the Nawash, as well as the Ojibwe Nation, the Saugeen First Nation. So very apropos that way. It's an amazing little glimpse from a, I can't remember the Anishinaabe word for it, a glimpse into, for European culture to look into a First Nations culture. And as Eden Robinson quotes on the back, it's chilling in all the best way. And in fact, Waubgeshig has this wonderful ability to write something that simultaneously warms your heart and chills you to the bone, which is really an interesting read. Why else should you vote for this book? Partly because, Waubgeshig comes from Wasauksing, just on the other side, just outside of Parry Sound. That's where I grew up. It's one of the reasons why I chose for me what is a local hometown author. And he now splits his time between Sudbury and Wasauksing. And for me, I wanted to take, a little peek into obviously his own experience, because it's very different from the townies' experience of what you grow up. And as you get older, it's always great to find new insights into the way you thought things were and the way things really are. And to me, that's a really interesting way. And I think he's very fair in the author's take on both the European culture and how we still reach into those remote areas, how they still rely on the European cultures of the South, as he calls them in the book, but also in the ways that the people on the First Nations in the book anyway have maybe adopted too much the ways of the South, to the detriment of their survival. Pure and simple. Another good reason to read this book, you start to learn some great Anishinaabewin words. Did you know the word for moose is musu? Musu. Now I don't even know why we don't use that. Obviously, I'm not an entomologist, but I mean, obviously that comes from the word musu. Moose is so close, right? But I just thought moose is such like an ancient dinosaur that still walks among us. Musu is a much better word. using, you know, a rare Z in an animal's name, like a zebra, muzu, that's good. Or baboon for winter. So I'm learning some Anishinaabe words, and he does a great job of peppering in conversation that way, but he also very much writes characters who are still on, you know, still on the cusp, losing a culture, but rediscovering it through this little calamity that happens when everything goes out. The lights go out, the telephones stop working, the kids can't get on their cell phones, the internet and video games go black, and then winter hits. How do you survive? Think how hard that would be, say, Kitchener, Waterloo, in Durham. Now think of how hard that would be in very remote Northern Ontario, where you're wondering, is the next food supply going to come on the truck in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time? As the diesel runs out and the plows can no longer plow the roads, and you don't even have enough gas for snow machines. So it's that kind of apocalyptic background. And a book like this, which is very readable, palpable, and I made it through 3 times because I really wanted to, because my first read through, sometimes it felt like a little bit of a slap, you know, from my background. But there's more of an embrace, and when you put yourself more into the characters, and when you grow up in Parry Sound during the wintertime, it's not hard to. Because we've had some big old baboons when I was a kid where you couldn't get out the front door because of the snowstorms. Then yeah, it starts to sneak up on you. It turns into a very large book in a very small package. So yeah, that's why I defend Moon of the Crusted Snow by Waubgeshig Rice.